Ashley, Cashley, I don't know, whichever one you want to call me. Today I'm going to be giving you guys Ashley Henderson though, because today's video is going to be a really good one, but it's going to relate more to my athlete side of me and also to my other good athlete friends out there. So in today's video I'm going to be giving you guys the 411, the 101, some tea. You know, I'm going to be giving you the real on a topic that I felt very confident to want to speak about. Get your waters, get your Gatorades, your coffee, your mama's leftover, whatever it is that you need. Get comfortable because you do not want to miss this, okay? Okay. Okay, so today's video is going to be about what it is that they don't tell you when you're transitioning from a collegiate athlete to a professional athlete. So for those of you who don't know me very well, I graduated from San Diego State University, go Aztecs, and after graduating, I spent my 4 years eligibility at San Diego State, and after my 4 years of eligibility, I signed with Adidas. And so this is where we about to get real, because me graduating, I actually had no idea really what going professional actually entailed until now. So first thing first is, when you're competing in college, you know, there is that 1% collegiate athletes that actually get to become professional athletes. Like, that's crazy, it's 1%, but wow, I'm actually in the 1% of something. Okay, I'm kidding. But anyway, so yeah, there's that 1% of collegiate athletes that actually get to become professional athletes. And so that by itself is just, it's crazy. So that just kind of goes to show and give you some perspective. But with that being said, it makes you extremely blessed and makes you extremely humble and grateful, therefore, because not everyone gets that opportunity to do their passion or their sport after the collegiate level. Like, that just, it doesn't happen for everyone. But if it gets to happen for you and people like myself, like, you have to be extremely grateful for that, because again, not everybody gets to get that. First topic that I want to talk to you guys about, things that you just don't know until you're already in it, is the signing process. So one thing I can say about the signing process is it's not always what you think it's going to be, okay? And I'm only speaking from my experience and just my experience and my opinions, but the signing process, when you're signing and trying to get your shoe deal, and this is mostly for track and field athletes because it's obviously very different for the NFL and the NBA, but for track and field athletes, once you're signing and once you're done competing, all your eligibility, and now you're trying to sign and get a shoe deal, the process is not all roses and rainbows and sunny skies. One thing that I can say about going through the signing process is, number one, don't have high expectations. And when I say don't have high expectations, I'm saying, like, don't have high expectations for what it is that you are expecting out of people who's going through that process with you and that you're working with, and also the contracts and the companies itself. You know, it's a business. And so with that being said, these companies are looking at, you know, what you have to offer. How can you help the company? How can you enhance that company? What do you bring to the table? Like, just as much as you're evaluating agents and evaluating these shoe companies as well, they also are evaluating you. So when I say don't have these high expectations, don't have the expectations of, well, I did this in college, and so you ran this time, you threw this far, you jumped this far. Don't place any expectations based off of what your personal best or your personal performances were, based upon what kind of deal you think you should get or you deserve, because it is beyond you. Sometimes it really is just beyond you and a little bit beyond the sport of track and field, because it is a business. So now you're talking about a corporation, you're talking about a company, you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar company that's going to give you money to wear their logos on your chest. And it's a lot that goes into that. It's not just, oh, you may be pretty. It's not that, oh, you may just run fast. It's a lot more that goes into it, because ultimately it's all about you selling shoes, you selling the brand. And so no one's just gonna give any or anybody a deal. Like, it's a little more deeper than just the fact that you're talented. That is great, and it starts there. But once you start talking about getting a shoe deal or a contract with someone, now it's about how are you gonna help them? And there's a total other business side to it. It's not just a track, or it's not just a running side and that's it. You should just get rewarded for a contract and get thousands and thousands of dollars just because you ran fast. Like, it just doesn't work like that, and it's unfortunate, but that just is what it is. So don't go into it having high expectations. Just go into it being yourself and trying to learn as much as you can about who you're going to be dealing with, who you're going to be getting in bed with, because that is very, very, very important. You want to make sure you're getting in bed with the people that you find that's fitting for you and, you know, have your best interests. It's a business, so you know what they say. You want to get in bed with the right folks, and you have to carry that same mindset, that same analogy when you're in a business. Like, it may be your sport, that may be what you have a passion for, that may be you have all these goals and all that for, but you also have to remember that you want to protect yourself, and especially the longevity sense of it. You know, especially for me, when I went through my process, I thought about the longevity piece of me in the sport and with the company. You know, I didn't think about just myself right now in that moment. I thought about, I want to, you know, protect myself in your best interest. That brings me to my next subtopic in this first topic. Do what's in the best interest for you, because there's going to be tons of people that's going to be in your ear, your friends, your family, your coaches, but you have to do what's in the best interest for you, because not all your friends are going to be where you are. Your coaches might have already been, but that was eons ago. But now it's you. Now this is your future. Now this is your life. Now this is how you're putting food on your table. You're no longer getting a scholarship stipend check anymore. Now this is how you're gonna have to pay your bills. And you want to just make sure that you're getting the best deal for you. It may not be the same deal that someone else got that you heard about. That does not matter. That does not matter. Actually, I'm glad I just said that. Whatever you heard about whoever else's deal, that does not matter. And it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you as to why you didn't get the deal you thought you either should have, or why you didn't get the deal that somebody else did, and whatever. That does not matter. It has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. Again, it is a business. So why that person got that and why you got that and whatever, it really does not matter. You have to make sure that you focus on you. You have to make sure that you're getting what's best for you. And a lot of people tend to get caught up in other people's numbers, other numbers that are out there like circulating. Like, none of it is real. Like, brings me to my next subtopic is not everybody is fortunate enough or can get a contract. Like, everyone can get a shoe deal. There are different type of deals out there. You have some deals that are just gear and equipment deals, and then you have some deals that are a shoe deal with a salary and whatever. But not everyone is able to attain getting a salary deal like that from a company. And so I think that is very, very, very important to just be mindful of and to remind yourself of too, whenever you start complaining, you start, you know, getting a little bit too ahead of yourself, because there is tons of people who would kill to have a deal or to be in your shoes. Well, I hope they wouldn't really kill, but you know what I'm trying to say, okay? Figuratively speaking, there's tons of people who would love to be in your position. And so you have to be, you know, reminded of that, because it is a blessing. It is a big blessing, especially for the sport of track and field, because everybody knows that track does not make money, it costs money. So the fact that these companies are going to give you a contract, like, you gotta be really humble and you gotta be very grateful for this, because this just doesn't happen for everybody. You know, it's not the NFL and it's not the NBA. Like, there's tons of NFL players with tons of NFL contracts and tons of NFL money. Well, with track and field, it's not the same. So just be reminded of that. Like, it's a hard knock life, okay? Okay. To the business side of it, like, it's a business, but just don't take it personal. Like, you just have to remember to not take anything personal, because the minute that you start taking stuff personal, it's gonna be a road for you. Like, it's gonna be actually a harder road for you. So if you start to already start putting in your mind not to take stuff personal, then things are going to be a little bit much more easier for you. Trust me, okay? And just to hit back on what I said about, you know, people that do not get contracts, like when you do start to, like I said, when you do start to feel like you're complaining, you start to get a little bit ahead of yourself, like, remember, you got good problems. Look at it like that, okay? You got good problems, period. Like, I can't express that enough. And yeah, and then it's like the people that's out there without contracts are working hard. Like, they're still traveling to meets, they're still at these meets, they're still doing everything that you're doing. They're just doing it without a contract. They're doing it without getting those resources or having access to those resources that you have. Like, yeah, we gotta really be very, very humble and very, very thankful for what we have, because of tons and tons and tons of people would love to be in your position. Like, and there's probably tons of people that is out there working hard to get in your position. Because let me tell you something, people ain't gonna keep letting you beat them. People gonna come for you, okay? So just as much as you got that contract will be just as fast as they take it from you. Like, don't get too comfortable, don't get too big-headed. You know, I know people, they do whatever they want to do with their money, and that's not gonna be the point of this video today. But you gotta just make sure that you remember just as fast as you got it and be just as fast as they'll take it. And not even them, just in general, just be as fast as it can be gone. Like, you have to be smart, you have to actually just understand that it's now a job. It's not the NCAA anymore. It's not that you can go to NCs and you may perform not so great, but you can come back again the next year and try to do better. Like, no, it's no longer a privilege, or it really ain't even a privilege on the NCAA level, but it's not a privilege now. Like, it's not a privilege at all. Remember that, okay? All right, so my next topic, my second topic is the rookie season. It's not something that myself or people who's been here before me has not yet experienced. You know, that transition from college to professional is real. And it's not even just with track and field, but it's real. Like, I can't find another word right now. But yeah, like when I say real, it's real in the sense of the fact that it's a learning season, really. And you may even be doing great, but you're still learning. And I think this piece of this video is really, really, really important, because it is common in sports, and especially in this sport, track and field, that the rookie season is a little tough. You know, you're gonna overcome, and that's why I said overcome, because you will overcome. But you're gonna hit some hurdles, you're gonna hit some bumps in the roads, you know. Things are not gonna play out as you hoped or as you expect them to be, but it's just your rookie season. When you're transitioning from being a collegiate athlete to being a professional athlete, now things are different. Like, everything is different. It's like being a freshman all over again. But the main thing is that you have to remember, you have to continue to trust God. There's going to be tons of times where your faith is going to be tested, but you have to remember, you got to trust God, because God's timing always wins. Say it with me. God's timing always wins. So, with that being said, like I said, it is a learning experience. It's a learning process. That's what I like to call it. I like to call the rookie season a learning season, because you go from college doing tons of meets every weekend. You're traveling just within the country. You're with a team. You're with all these resources and medical staff people with you, whatever. But it's not like that at all on a professional level. It's not. Now you have where you have to, everything is now you. There's no team. There's nothing. It's you. And you have to remember to not compare yourself and your journey and your process to anyone else, because it's very hard to stay intuitive to yourself and to your process and your journey, because it's very easy to get caught up in what's going on with everybody else, or you see such and such is doing this out there on the track or whatever. But you have to remember to not compare yourself to anybody else, because you actually don't know what people are going through or what people are dealing with. Like, that person may not be dealing with anything physically from your lies or from the lenses of you, but they may be having some struggles they're trying to overcome with the process as well, mentally or spiritually or emotionally, you know? So you don't want to compare your journey or yourself to anybody else. You know, the rookie season can be mentally tough, and that's actually just all it is. It's more of a mental thing, because it may not be anything physical. It may not be that you're physically incapable of competing on a professional level. Like, it doesn't have anything to do with that. Usually it is a huge mental piece, is a huge emotional thing, because now your body, your mind, your soul, everything is doing something that is never done before. Like the travel, the training may be different. You may have switched coaches, you know, you're not competing as much. Excuse me. Now you're not competing as much. Now you're not as race sharp, or now the season may be so long that you have to go out, you know. It's totally different. And the mental piece of it can be very hard to pull yourself up out of, but you have to, because it's going to be challenging. You're going to have some challenges that are going to be thrown your way. Things are not going to happen the way that you hope or expect them to. You know, you may be practicing well at practices and then going out to meets and your practices aren't showing up at the meets. You know, there's going to be tons of things you're going to question, but the number one thing is that you have to remember is you have to keep going. Is you cannot give up on yourself. You can't give up on your faith. You can't give up on your coaches. You know, you got to keep going, because again, God timing always wins. Like, what's for you is going to be for you. And it's not when you think you should have it or when you feel like it should be. Like, no, but as long as you keep your faith in yourself and in your process and in God, it will happen. I promise you, like, it will happen. It's just the learning process is real. Like, you have to go through this, because you have to start learning what it is that it's going to take for you to be successful on this level. Like, you might have mastered it and you might have figured that out as a collegiate athlete, but now this is a new level. Like, every new level in life is going to require a new you, and you can't compare your professional career now to what you did in college, because I'm going to tell you something, that does not matter anymore. It does not matter in the signing process. It doesn't matter anymore what you did when you was in college. Now you're a professional, so now you are expected of some other different things. Now things are just a little bit more intense. You know, so what you did in college does not matter anymore what you do here on out. Like, so you can't compare what you were doing in college at this time of the season, or around this time last year you were running this times, or you did this, you did that, because it is just night and day. It's totally different. Like, I can't express that enough. So don't beat yourself up so much trying to understand or figure out why things aren't adding up or going the way that you think they should, and especially because of what you did in college, because it's not college. Your collegiate career is over. Like, welcome to the pro life, okay? You know, another side of the rookie season, which is a learning part of it, is the fact that, like, there's just not that many meets. Like, or not there's not that many meets, but there's meets are going to be more challenging now to do. You can't just no longer go and walk up and run, and no. Now everybody's fighting to get a lane. Everybody's trying to get into that meet, and you may not always be able to get into the meets that you want. You may not always get the lane that you want, but it is very limited, I will say, as a professional compared to being in college, because everybody's fighting to get into that meet. Everybody's trying to get a lane. Like, so things are just going to be a little bit more different, because now you're not going to have as many races under your belt. You know, in college you had about maybe 50 some races under your belt by the time you went to NCAAs. Like, so it's just not the same journey, and it's not supposed to be. You know, it's not supposed to be meant to be the same journey that you've already had before, because this is an entirely different level. So just keep that in mind. I think another important piece about the rookie season is you start to figure out, like, what works and what doesn't work. And this is going to bring me to my next topic, because as you start your rookie season, as you're starting to become now a professional athlete, now you're doing things a little bit more differently, or, you know, there's just things are going to be different. And you have to figure that piece out, what works and what doesn't work. And that's why you have to probably go through this process. Maybe get your head banged up against the wall a couple of times, take a couple of losses, you know, because it helps you figure out what it is that's going to help you be successful on this level and what's not going to help you. And only you know that. Like, only you can lie to you. And so you need, you know, sometimes some learning experiences for you to help you out so you can ultimately be the best that you can be. And so I think it's a more, you know, grateful piece of the rookie season is figuring things out, because things are different now. You know, now which brings me to my next topic, now you're traveling overseas, and now you're having to adjust to different environments, different food, different weather, whatever. Yeah, opposed to running in a nation, like you weren't traveling 13 hours, 10-hour flights, whatever, to other countries to compete in a meet. And then in that same week, may travel to another meet and compete. Like, you didn't have to have, you know, get your body readjusted to wherever you are now, or sit on a 13-hour flight and now your legs is all cramped up, and now you're over there for maybe a week, or maybe you might have got there the day before the race and that may not have worked for you. Like, this is a real learning experience. Like, so when those things happen and you know, like, hey, you know, that didn't really work for me, then that's okay. Like, you can actually go back, regroup with your team, regroup with your coach, your agent, everyone, and now you guys know that. So going forward, things can be readjusted or things can be different. But you won't know those things though until you go through it. You won't know what doesn't work for you until you go through it. And you won't find what does work for you until you go through it. So the rookie season is tough. It is tough, but it's not all bad. There is some very good and some positive that we can take from it, because it does nothing but it ultimately helps you. Like, as much as I know taking losses hurt, it's doing nothing but to help you. Like, I don't know what more I could say on that, but yeah. But yeah, travel and being overseas is, no one tells you about all this. Like, getting used to being on the circuit, maybe having to do one meet on Tuesday and then you're running on Friday or Saturday at another meet in a different country, you know? You don't learn and figure these things out until you actually go through it. So when you have meets like that, that's like back to back in the same week, you know, it's really not like that in college. You don't go from meet to meet in a week in college. You usually run every other week or every weekend. So your body, your mind, all of that is not used to that type of stuff. So that's why, again, you just have to just be mindful of the fact that this rookie season, the first year out, is as much of a learning, it's much of a learning experience and a learning process, and it does nothing but just to help you out. In addition to that, there's that part of also too where, you know, you're gonna have to start traveling by yourself. There's gonna be some meets where your coach or your agent won't be able to be there with you, and that's new for us. Like, we're used to going to meets where we're with a team, we're with a medical staff, and we're with our coaches to be there for every step of the way and telling us every single thing we need to do. But now as a professional, now that's where that self-discipline is gonna come, it's gonna kick in, and it's gonna show when you're gonna have to handle yourself. You're gonna have to be your own coach, because your coach may not be able to be there with you, and that's okay, because now you're a professional. So you wanna be a professional, you're gonna have to act like a professional. That's it, like, period. I think another like interesting piece about learning the whole travel thing is also like learning how to pack. Like, that's part of this process. Like, I know on my first overseas trip, I packed so much, like overpacked so much, and I even like overpacked with my snacks, because that's another interesting topic we're gonna get into next. But just like you know, those are just some of the, like, it can be small things that you learn, and there can also be really big things that you learn, but the small things matter too. And like I said, for me, packing too much was just like, okay, OD for me, because now I'm just carrying around all this extra baggage, and it's just like, I didn't need all that. Like, it's fine. Like, I learned that you don't have to bring all this, you know, maybe you're gonna have to start hand washing some stuff. Like, that's just part of the process. You know, you don't know these things until you go through them, or unless you got people like me that's gonna give you this 411. But yeah, so but back to the snacks though. Like, I had to learn on my first overseas trip last year, coming directly out of my collegiate career, was, you know, I didn't really like the food that this country had to offer. You know, it just wasn't my cup of tea. So this time around, now into my first year, professional year, I know that. And so I packed snacks, but like, I overpacked on snacks. Like, oh my God, I had to leave some of my snacks behind. And again, it was just like frustrating for me, because like, I did all that overpacking with not just my clothes and stuff, but just with the snacks too. And but yeah, so like, you know, you may have to bring, you know, snacks. You won't know this stuff though until you go through it, but you may have to bring some snacks, some, you know, comfort food that you like or that you enjoy, because the food overseas may not be up to your liking. But again, you won't know that until you go through it. So it's another part of the learning process, you know. Just traveling overseas, and the travel period is as not as a big of a deal as we may like look at it. It's a really big deal, because the travel affects you, and it affects your body. Most importantly, it affects your mind. It does play a big role on us. And as much as we try to pretend like it doesn't, or we, you know, we're not as conscious to it, or we don't pay that much attention to it, it's there. You know, you're going from time zones to time zones. You're constantly like traveling on long flights. Your body can just only do so much. And so now you're doing this travel, and you're still expected to perform at a certain expectation. And you know, people don't care, and they don't care if you have to sit on a 13-hour flight, or they don't care if you got there the day before the meet and your body's not adjusted yet. You know, they just don't care. But what you have to remember is, you have to note these things and know, so that you know going forward in the future how to attack it the next time. You know, every time just gets better. It's not supposed to get worse, it's supposed to get better. So I hope it gets better. Okay, so my third and final topic is stepping outside your comfort zone. I feel like this is very important to know going through this, becoming a professional athlete, because again, every new level in life is going to require a new level of you. And it's, again, like being a freshman all over again. So you can't really expect different results if you're going to keep doing the same things. You know, you do have to be a little bit more open and receptive to just stepping outside of your comfort zone. Because I read a quote and it resonated so much with me. And it said that life can be hard for two reasons. And one of those reasons is because either you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, or the other is because you're staying in it. And if that ain't the truth, oh my God. Like, no, seriously. Yeah, like you don't want to necessarily change things too much, but once you start to recognize what's not working anymore, you do want to, you know, let those things go. And you do kind of want to approach this pro level with a more open mind, with a more of a let's you know, attack it a little differently. And I don't know how that is for you. Everybody's different, but stepping outside your comfort zone is going to be a major thing to remember, because this level is going to require you to do things you've never done before. And in order to do some things, in order to do something that you want to do, it's going to require you to do some things that you've never done before. And that just, it is what it is. And so if you're not willing to step outside your comfort zone, that may work for some people, but it just may not. But what we can say is that stepping outside your comfort zone does no harm, does nothing bad for you. It does good. Like, it can't do anything bad or worse to you. It can only do good things and you can only gain from it, you know? So you just be very cautious of the fact that if you find yourself still kind of doing the same things you were doing before, kind of bringing in the same habits that you had before, you know, don't get too comfortable. Like, you never want to get too comfortable, because if you find yourself getting too comfortable, try to get yourself out of it, because it can smack you in the face real quick. You know, while you're sitting being comfortable, or you're still doing the same old, not stepping outside your comfort zone as much, then those that are your competitors, those that you are competing against, are working 10 times harder, and your comfort zone is holding you back. You know, that's just what happens. Comfort zones hold people back. It holds people back from reaching whatever potential something has for you. And that just is what it is. Like, people are out here working hard. So you just have to be willing to step outside your comfort zone, because it's not going to do any harm. It can only do good for you. You can only gain from that. Like, there's no wrong, there's no harm in ever stepping outside of your comfort zone. Like, never. Challenge yourself, you know, challenge yourself to attack things differently. Like, that's stepping outside your comfort zone. Like, challenge yourself. It could be small, it could be big, but like, challenge yourself. Do things a little bit differently than what you were doing before. Like, actually hold yourself to some standard as well. Like, go to practice and do better than what you did yesterday. Challenge yourself a little harder than you did yesterday, because you can only get better. Like, you can only get better. You know, the rookie season isn't all that bad. You know, it's not all that bad. It's not even supposed to be bad. And the learning process, the rookie season process, whatever, is not a bad thing. Like, please don't take this from this video. Like, but it's not that bad. Like, you get this opportunity to do the sport that you love, continue the passion that you have, while traveling the world, like going places that you probably would have never imagined traveling to. And you're making and creating memories and having these experiences. You're creating and forming new relationships with people. Like, the sport has so much opportunity to give you than probably anything else really in life. You know, there's not most things in life that's going to give you the same opportunities and the same experiences and the memories that you're going to create that this sport will give you, and on a professional level. So, you know, definitely enjoy it. Enjoy the process, enjoy your journey, you know, embrace it, like, enjoy the moment, but just don't forget that, like I said in the beginning of this video, just as fast as you got it can be just as fast as it can take it away from you. You know, stay humble, stay faithful, stay prayed up, keep your faith in yourself, your coaches, your family, your God, most importantly, because God did not get you this far to get you this far. You didn't get yourself this far to get this far.
You didn't get yourself this far to get this far.
If you did, then hey. Okay, but if you know there's other goals or there's something else bigger out there for you that you are striving for, then you gotta keep going. There's gonna be tons of tests that's gonna keep coming your way. You might have got over that first test and things start going well, but just be ready for the next. And I think that's where the real beauty is in the sport, is because every test, you're supposed to be able to attack it a lot differently than the ones before, you know? So just prepare yourself for the good and for the bad. Embrace them both equally. Like, you have to, because it's gonna make you appreciate it a lot more. Let me tell you something. I think that's the real beauty too in going through the rookie season and learning stuff, is because, you know, you get your head knocked up against the wall so much, and then finally, whenever that time comes, you're finally on the other side. Things are finally starting to look up for you and starting to brighten up. And so now you're in this good spot. Now you're in this good place. But you know what it took for you to get there. You know everything that you had to go through to where you are today. And I think that is the most beautiful piece to me about sports in general, and just about so far going through this rookie season, because you go through all of this, all this learning curve, all these losses, but then finally, when everything starts to look up for you, now like that's just what makes you feel so much more appreciative. And I'm telling you, what comes easy is never worth it. But when you appreciate, when you work hard for something, you appreciate it that much more, because you knew what it took for you to get to where you are. You knew how many times you were crying, you know how many times you got on the phone with your mama, your daddy, your coaches, your agents, and was just crying, complaining, ready to probably give up, losing your faith, all of the above. Only you know? So you knew what it took to get to where you are today. And so I'm telling you, it's going to be such a, not only a relief, but it's going to be a huge blessing. Like, that's what makes blessing that much more fulfillment, because you know the hard work, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that it took for you to conquer your goals, to get to places that you ever so desire to be. So don't give up on yourself. If you're having a tough rookie season, or things are just like all over the place for you, don't give up. Learn something from this. I hope this can just only do nothing but you guys learn something from this, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to give back. I enjoy sharing my experiences, but that's the real beauty in it, is giving back. Trying to help educate and put y'all up on game, so that you guys can have a different experience, or just know a little bit more, have a little bit more knowledge coming into your professional career. So again, I really hope this video can be very beneficial to all. And all I can say is just go do you. Like, go do you. Like, stay prayed up, stay focused, stay faithful. Like, I can't express that enough, is you have to keep your faith. The minute that your faith starts going somewhere, like, do whatever you need to do to affirm yourself, to get back to you, because I'm telling you, you will make it on the other side. As long as you stay faithful in not only yourself, but in God, you will get on the other side. I promise you, you will, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and close out this video. Again, I really hope this video can be very helpful for all. But yeah, so for those of you who are new to my channel, make sure you guys subscribe and check out some of my older videos after this video. But we gotta keep moving, guys. So I'll see you guys next time, okay?